The balance of light. Once upon a time, there was a young worker in a factory. His mentor taught him to speak less, work more, and never stop learning anything necessary for his work at the factory. After 10 years, the mentor retired, and the young worker took over his position. He continued his work with the same dedication and determination as before. One day, he went to visit his mentor. The mentor noticed that the young worker seemed troubled and unhappy, and asked him what the problem was. The young worker took a deep breath and poured out his thoughts. "For all these years, I have followed your instructions. Whatever I work on, I remain silent and focus entirely on the task at hand. I know I've done a lot of good work at the factory and mastered all the skills that can be learned there. But there's something I don't understand. Other workers who don't have as much experience as I do are being promoted, and their salaries are increasing. Yet, I continue to receive the same small salary I had when I worked under you." The mentor asked, "Are you sure you are the most essential and important worker at the factory?" The young worker nodded. The mentor rocked back and forth thoughtfully. After a moment, he looked at the young worker and said, "You need to take a day off from work. Use whatever excuse you want. Ask for a day off. It's time for you to rest." The young worker was surprised by this advice. The more he thought about it, the stranger it seemed. He thanked his mentor, quickly left, and went to work to ask for a day off. After 2 days, he returned to work. The manager called him in and told him that things had gone wrong at the factory while he was away. The workers had faced problems that he could have easily solved, but they had no idea how to fix them. Realizing how important the young worker was to the factory, the manager decided to promote him and appointed him as the chief technician. This position was a recognition of his importance and a reward for his efforts. The young worker praised his mentor's wisdom, realizing that this was the key to success. From that day on, whenever he felt he deserved more than his current salary, he would take a day off. The next day, the situation would be different. The manager would tell him what to do next. And the next day, things would always be in his favor. He continued to use this method for months. But one day, he was told that he was no longer allowed to come to work. He was fired from his job at the factory. He couldn't understand how this had happened. Not knowing what to do, he went back to his mentor. "I want to understand why things went wrong," he said. "Why was I fired? I did everything just as you told me." "No, you didn't do exactly as I told you," the mentor shook his head. "You only listened to half of the lesson. You were in too much of a hurry to apply it in practice. You understood that when a light is on, no one pays attention to it. It's only when the light goes out that people start to notice it and appreciate it. You were quick to apply this lesson, but didn't wait to hear the rest. There was more to it, and now you realize your mistake." "What was the rest of the lesson?" the young worker asked. The mentor replied slowly, "If the light goes out too often, it will be replaced with one that works better. That's the most important part of the lesson. Who needs a light that doesn't always shine? Have you ever witnessed your family members and friends who have always been there For you not being appreciated enough? What if one day they are no longer able to be by your side? If you realize their importance only after they are gone, it will be too late. Instead of waiting for such a day, start appreciating your loved ones today. Show them your gratitude now. Also, recognize your own worth. Keep working. Even if things don't go the way you want, don't stop. Find balance in your life. Then life will reward you.